Hey, what is going on, you little wacky warthogs, baby? We back at it, okay? And I ain't gonna lie to you. Last week was a banger, okay? Y'all showed up, y'all showed out. I ain't know what to expect. I ain't never done this before. I didn't know what was happening. I kind of just jumped on here and did my little thing. Oh, baby, you got to do my little thing. And then within the first day, y'all got me up to I think 200 people watched on YouTube, 30 something subscribers in the first day. Y'all just, man, y'all are the best. And, we lit, baby, and we on a run. And, we on the road again, like old Skinny Leonard used to sing. That might have been Willie Nelson. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm just glad to be here, man. We're at episode 2. Who would have thought, man? I mean, I definitely thought I would be here, but who would have thought it? And I'm just glad to be here. So many places that I could be, so many things that you could be doing, but you decided to listen, and you decided to watch, and for that means the world. That means everything to me. So I just want to be a small part of your day. I just want to be a small part of your week, and just to get through this together. And I hope if you haven't heard this a while, then I'll tell you, and I'll tell everybody. I'll tell your grandma this, and I hope to make it a point is that, I love you, and I'm proud of you. But more importantly, Jesus loves you. Everything you have is all you need, baby. Go out there and work. Put the work in. You may be on your way to work right now, and I just want you to know that today is a great day to have a great day. Go and do your thing. You little chicken wing, baby. We on the way to greatness. We here. And, I was at church today. And church is an every Sunday thing, man. Church is the best place to be on Sunday. Church is the best place to be on any day. And I was at church today, and we was singing to the Lord, and we was clapping. We ain't got no tambourines, but somebody showed up with a tambourine. Don't know where they got that. Had to, church security had to get on them real quick. We don't do that no more, dude. You come in with a tambourine, we'll switch it out for a tangerine, baby. You got that wrong tea. You got that wrong instrument. So we'll give you an instrument for your mouth, baby, that tangerine. Don't come into church with a tambourine. Nope. That's old school, baby. That's old class. And we had a great service, great message. It was an awesome time. And it got me thinking about church camp. And church camp's a unique thing, man. Church camp is something special. And if you've ever been to church camp, you know that it's a great time. A lot of good things take place there. But if you've also been to church camp, and maybe y'all were one of these people, but if you've also been to church camp, you know that, church camp is where, there's some bad kids that go to church camp. Okay. There are some kids you think, man, I'm surprised you ain't in a penitentiary. You acting like you ought to be in, that solitary confinement. You know what I'm saying? But they go to church camp, and what's crazy about church camp, and it got me thinking about this, bro. If half of these crazy kids, these little wacky tobaccos, these little strange strudlers, if half of these kids did some of the stuff they did at church camp in the real world, they'd be in prison. No doubt about it. Half of these kids, show up, you've been to church camp, they doing some crazy stuff, and just stuff you find out about it, and you're like, man, that's 25 to life. You ought to be served, you ought to be, trying to make the, the good prisoner list, bruh. But what it is about church camp is church camp, dude, you could do whatever you want about church camp, and you'll never get locked up, bro. Dude, I don't care. You can steal somebody's car and crash it into old Ethel's house down the street. Old 97-year-old Ethel. You can crash into her living room and hit her TV. And they won't even take you to jail, bro. They just pray for you even harder at the next service. That's insane. Like, it could, one night you can be going down there and a little bit of drugs fall from your pocket. You've been to church camp, there's some kids that carry them D-rugs, baby. And, somebody will pick up the drugs and they'll find it. They won't even take you to jail. They'll just make you go down to the miracle service. That's insane. Dude, you get caught on my street with some drugs, son? Dude, ain't even nobody got to call the popo, bro. Them blue shirts are there in a minute, you know. And at church camp, you could be, I call them holy heathens, a bunch of holy heathens out there just running around getting prayed for. You know, I believe in prayer. I think prayer is good. I think we need a lot more prayer. But I'll say this, you know, if you a holy heathen and you out there, you know, if you out there slinging them drugs and, you know, all that fun stuff, bro, you need to be in solitary confinement. And I've always said that, and I've always told people that. But, you know, it's a great day to be alive, baby. And it's, you know, that old Travis Tritt song, I got a rice cooking in the microwave. And that's that minute rice. That's that, you ever struggled, you've had minute rice. And I'll tell you this, there's also minute mashed potatoes, quick and easy mashed potatoes or whatever. The flakes, bro, my wife don't even put them in the microwave. You ever had minute mash? My wife just takes the box and then just dumps flakes in her mouth. How gross is that? She just takes all them little tater flakes, them Tate flakes is what I call them, and she just dumps them in her mouth and lets the heat of her mouth warm them up and mash them up. That's so gross. But church camp, man, you could punch your counselor in the throat and he'll just say, I'll pray for you. Dude, you could go up in there and elbow your counselor in the throat and he'll just say, God bless you, little Timothy. God bless you. Hope to see you at the altar. You won't even get in trouble, bro. It's crazy. But I remember, you know, I took our students to church camp, and this was probably 2018, and I took them to church camp, and we had a kid that had never been to church camp before, so, you know, he didn't know church camp etiquette, and he was just, you know, he was a funny guy, dude, just turning up. But there was another kid in another youth group who was deaf, and nobody knew he was deaf because he spoke really well. Like, he had his grammar and, you know, everything was so good. Like, he just sounded like a normal, you know, he sounded like a normal hearing feller. And he would talk, but at nighttime, and, you know, I didn't know this because the other youth pastor had to tell me this. He had to take out, you know, his hearing aids and charge them. So he went from, like, hearing and sounding normal to not being able to hear and sounding like he was deaf. But nobody knew because he wouldn't talk at nighttime. He just couldn't hear a thing. And I remember he brought this flashlight from home because he wanted to feel like he was at home. And I guess at home he always turns on his flashlight and just shines it everywhere. And we had this kid, and our kid thought that this kid was able to hear. And they were sleeping. It was time to go to bed. And our kid and the other youth group's kid were laying, like, really close. Like, they were kind of, you know, one's feet was at the other one's head. And our kid was laying there, and he was trying to sleep. And the other kid just kept turning on that flashlight and waving it around. And our kid said, hey, bro, it's time to go to sleep. You need to turn off the flashlight. And coincidentally, the flashlight went off. So we were like, okay, you know, it's kind of rude, but he heard you. And we're all laying there, and like 13 seconds later, that flashlight clicks back on. He's just waving it around the room. Now our kid, I could kind of feel him. You know, I could kind of feel like a little bit of, like, didn't I just tell you? You know, I could kind of feel like the eyebrows go up. And then he leaned over and he looked at the kid with the flashlight and he said, bro, I know you heard me, okay? And, you know, it's 11 o'clock at night. You know, I don't know if you're trying to play games, but I just asked you to turn off your flashlight. So please turn it off. And that kid, coincidentally again, the flashlight went off right when he said that. And I was like, dang, I don't know if he's messing with him. So then a few minutes later, this flashlight comes back on. Now he's going real fast. And our kid sits up and he's like, bro, I know you heard me, dog. Turn off your flashlight. We're trying to sleep. And I was like, I was acting like I was asleep because, you know, as a first year, you know, pastor, you don't want to, like, intervene. You know, you don't know, like, I ain't trying to get beat up. I'll tell you that. I'm a pastor, not a security guard. And I'll tell anybody. I'll tell your grandma that. But I was acting like I was asleep, kind of, but I had that one eye open. You know, the referees that get knocked out in wrestling, you know, they ain't really knocked out, but they acting knocked out. That was me. I had my one eye open. And this kid kept flicking that flashlight, and now I could see our kid getting real mad, getting real angry. And he told him to turn off the flashlight. Come on, man. I'm trying to sleep. We got to be up early in the morning, man. So that kid turned off the flashlight, and then we were sleeping there for like, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes, and the flashlight turned back on. And our kid did not know he was deaf. Keep that in mind. Our kid thought he was, that hearing feller. He didn't know he had turned in from that. He didn't know he went from hearing feller to Helen Keller real quick, like, just taking them, them hearing devices out. So he popped up, once that kid turned on the flashlight, he popped up and said, you mother... He went off. And that's when I had to wake up. That's when I had to play, security guard. That's when I had to wake up, because you ain't going to talk like that at church camp. I tell you that. You might be a holy heathen in another youth group, but you ain't going to be a holy heathen in my youth group. I tell you that. And I tell you grandma that too. I don't care. You ain't going to act like that in my youth group. And I woke up and I said, whoa, he's deaf, bro. He can't hear nothing. And you just going to go off on him and I kind of played the guilt card. So, so I didn't look like I was in the wrong for faking being asleep. We've all played the guilt card at some point in our life. I think, if you haven't played the guilt card, you haven't really lived. You ain't really done nothing with your life. And, that may sound bad, but that's reality, baby. So he was yelling at this deaf kid. This deaf kid was scared out of his mind. I mean, you see somebody just turn around in full force and they just look like they're yawning real viciously, but in reality they're screaming. You just can't hear them. And he thought he was just, he either thought our kid was tired and aggressive or just really mad that he had a flashlight. And I remember, dude, it was a crazy day. It was a crazy day the next day, because that kid was terrified of our kid, dude, because he didn't know what was going to, he was going to get beat up or what. But I ain't here to judge nobody. We've all gotten mad at times. We all gotten, stressed out at times. And, some of us deal with that stuff. Some of us deal with anger. And, especially if people ain't listening when we're talking. But you just got to remember that, sometimes you may be talking to somebody who can't hear. I know my dad gets real bad road rage. Some of y'all might have road rage like that. And my dad gets real bad road rage to the point where, he's ready to fight. He's ready. Oh, you ain't going to cut me off like that. You ain't going to cut Jimbo off like that. You don't know, old boy, you don't know about Jimbo. I was raised in Mississippi. Boy, I was raised in Mississippi. And I've only been to Mississippi once. Ain't nobody talk like that. But my dad was raised in Mississippi, and I'll tell you 2 things about people from Mississippi. Number 1 is they don't play no games, bro. Mississippi people, we just traveled through there a few weeks ago and went to a Subway. And we walked in the Subway, and the lady shut the Subway down an hour and a half early because she said she'd been at work too long. She said she was tired of being at work. She said she ain't working till 9. She's shutting it down at 7:30. And a cop walked in, bro. A cop. Popo. Like handcuffs and the ability to freelance pistol whip. That kind of guy walked in. And, that badge wearing badger. That badge badger, baby. That bad badger. And he walked in, and she looked at him, this girl in Mississippi, looked at him and said, I don't know where you eating tonight, but there's a Waffle House down the street. What? To a cop, bro? And she was like 19. And she was telling him, there may be an hour and a half on the door, but when Becky's tired, Daddy. And she looked at that cop straight in his eyeball, boy. He thought he was about to get arrested. I tell you that. He thought he was about to get pushed up against the car with them handcuffs on. Because she looked whatever his name is. Maybe, I couldn't tell if he was of Hispanic descent or if he just had a really good tan. So it could have been Ricky or Ricardo. But she looked at him and said, hey, I don't know where you eat. And she kind of sounded like that too. This Becky girl, she kind of, Josh Turner, baby lock him board. She kind of sounded like, hey, I don't know where you eating tonight, Daddy. But hey, you ain't eating at Subway. You ain't eating fresh. I tell you that. You can go down to Waffle House. You can get that guilty grease taco, but you can go to Waffle House and get that smothered and covered, but you ain't eating here. And I tell you that. And that cop looked at her and obeyed her. And That's just how it is in Mississippi, man. Mississippi people don't care. But I'll also tell you this. Number one is they don't care. They ain't going to mess with you. Number two is Mississippi people can cook, bro. Can cook. I remember the best food I ever got in Mississippi. I think we was down there for 1 week, 2 weeks. I don't remember, but the best food I ever had was at their gas stations. And a lot of times they can't even, it said they were trying to sell boudin in the gas station. And I'll tell you, never eat boudin from a gas station here. I'll probably go as far as say never eat a boudin from a gas station anywhere, not even Louisiana. But this is Mississippi hippie, baby. She wrote on there, boudin was on the sign, but it was spelled wrong. It was spelled like Boodin, boudin, and I was kind of hesitant, but something in me told me to eat it. When the Holy Spirit speaks to you, you can't ignore him like that. So, and I tried that boudin, bro. Oh my God, you ever had your mind blown? I'll tell you that. This boudin made its way into my esophagus, stopped halfway in my throat. I choked for like 30 seconds, wasn't even mad at it. You ever been choking and you weren't even freaking out? You weren't even mad? That was me choking on that, that spicy rice roll right there. That spice rice sausage right in my throat. Wasn't even freaking out because of how good it was. And that's boudin. But I thought for the longest time boudin was fish, but I think it's just sausage. But yeah, man, church camp's, church camp's crazy. Church camp, I think everybody should experience it, but it'll make you want to fight somebody sometimes too. I remember one time I went up for prayer when I was in youth. I went up for prayer at church camp, and I guess, the pastor thought something was wrong with my stomach. I didn't even give off no signs that something was wrong with my stomach, but evidently he thought I needed healing. And he took his hand and cupped it. Pow! Smacked me right in the stomach. And he said, deliverance! And I said, okay, that ain't nothing wrong with my stomach. And he smacked me in the stomach, boy, I almost flicked his nose, bro, with my knuckles. So, church camp is crazy. But you go to the right one, it's beautiful. You go to the wrong one, man, it'll make you want to chase a rabbit. I'll tell you that. It's a bad church camp when instead of going to service, you want to chase a rabbit. And that's what my dad used to tell me all the time growing up when I was bored. He said, son, you bored? You got two options if you're bored. Get a job, but chase a rabbit. So one time I tried to make chasing a rabbit my job. And you ever try to chase a rabbit? You can't. Rabbits are quick. I'll tell anybody that. I'll tell your grandma that. Rabbits are probably the fastest animal. I think statistically, rabbits are the fastest animal on earth. That's that quick rabbit. That rabbit is what I call them. Rabbits are so fast, bro, that, I think, I've never done this, but I think you can run your own little test. Put a rabbit up against a frog, guarantee you a rabbit wins. You don't think so? Then do it, bro. But I guarantee it. Put a rabbit up against a newborn cat and see which one wins. And tell me that a rabbit ain't quick. Put a rabbit up against my little cousin Danny and see if a rabbit don't outrun him. So if you're on here and you don't think rabbits run fast, you're mistaken. Badly. And but I remember one time at church camp, we had a kid who faked being, maybe he wasn't faking. I don't know. He was very aggressive. And he faked falling out. He faked it. And how I knew he was faking it is because he started falling out and nobody was back there to catch him. So he caught himself. And that doesn't seem right. I don't know, but if you catch yourself when you falling out, he was like falling back and then he realized he was falling back and he had nothing to grab onto. So he's grabbing onto people, pulled himself back up, caught himself. And he said, oh. I said, okay. I don't know, what that was, but I don't think he was really falling out, Daddy. I think the AC turned on and you wasn't ready for it. So, but yeah, man, Life is crazy. Experiences are crazy. Church camp is crazy, but church camp is beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful experiences. I gave my life to Jesus at church camp, and I've been living for him ever since. But what is weird about church camp, and tell me this, why does every day at church camp have a catchy name to it? Every church camp I've ever been to, every single day got a catchy name to it. Miracle Monday, Testify Tuesday, Where the Lord At Wednesday. Oh, where is he? He's in your heart. Give Thanks Thursday. And then finally Friday, where it's time to go out and bless people. So every time. And I don't know, I think that we should live our lives like that. Whatever job you do, give every day a title and watch it change your life, Daddy. I guarantee it. So, I hope you have a blessed day. Stay safe. I don't know if it's supposed to rain this week, but if it does, you ain't got to get your car washed. And I've always said that. And I love you guys so much. I hope you have an incredible day. Stay blessed. Remember that God loves you. I love you. And make the best out of today. Mwah. See you later, papa. Next Monday, episode 3. Deuces. Falling down on my knees.